Seen Dylan's outfit today?
I have not. Wild one?
Oh, very wild.
Oh boy. I don't know if Diane will like that one. That's his mom. I'm not sure she'll like that one.
Not in your wardrobe, huh?
No, I'd scar people for life if I looked like that. They'd see a bad body of mine. So.
At Oregon State, you talked about getting back here and working on some things, ironing some things out. What have you done this week, or what were those things?
Been really working on execution. I told the guys, our last 3 games have been one possession games, and in all of them, our offensive execution hadn't been good enough. Whether it's turnovers or not executing a play, and you can't have that in February. We haven't tightened up our execution nearly as well as we should, and that's on me. This time of year, a lot of games come down to 1 or 2 possessions, and our execution offensively hasn't been good. Defensively, we've been getting some good efforts, but we fall asleep at times. So it's not any one thing, but I thought execution of offense was 1. 2 would be, just our defensive lapses where somebody falls asleep, and the last thing, blockouts. We have been beating people on the boards, but we've been giving up some very untimely second shots that have really hurt us.
In a lot of those games, especially against Washington, you held your timeout, let the guys play it out in those last 2 possessions. Just what is your strategy behind letting them play out in the last 2 minutes of the game?
Well, my strategy is we've been at this a long time, and just our percentages of the team have been better when we haven't called timeouts this is long history. Now this particular group ready, but we had time to call a play, and we ran what we wanted. It was tapping my head, and we got what we wanted, and I thought Will might have a shot. I was hoping Dante rolling to the basket might have a shot, and Waldo was our third look. But Will made the right play, and at least we got a good shot. It wasn't a great shot, but it was a good shot, and Waldo knocked it down.
What's just been your impressions of Dante's growth from year 1 when he showed up mid-year to now?
Well, first thing I want to say is we've had no one work harder this year than Dante. As far as first one to practice, last one to leave, he was here at 8 o'clock this morning working out. His work ethic has been really good. And the first thing I want to say is it's because he's healthy. The 2.5 years previous to this, he just hadn't been healthy. It's hard to put in a lot of extra work when you've got a tendonitis in your knee, or you're working a year to overcome an ACL. If you haven't gone through it, or if you haven't watched somebody go through it, especially when you're 6'11", 250 pounds, you have no idea what those guys go through. Football players that go through ACL or L tears, big bodies, it takes a while to recover. And so he's done a tremendous job working through that. Like I said, he's been our hardest worker this year, most consistent guy. It's mostly because he's been healthy. He missed 1 game with a concussion and 1 when he twisted his knee warming up. No, I'm really high on Dante. He's been unbelievable. I think he can play in the league. He's got to shoot it. We've got to spend time working on his shooting because he's got to be able to hit a 17-footer. But it's in there. He could shoot it, and it's just going to take time. There's no shortcut to being a good shooter. You got to get in the gym and you got to shoot a lot of shots. There's no shortcut. There's no magic formula. I haven't had 1 good shooter in 42 years. I haven't put a lot of time in it. And before practice, after practice, on his own. And if Dante wants to acquire that skill, he's going to have to put a lot of time in.
It could be senior day for a lot of guys. COVID, they come back or not. But how do you address just the emotions of that?
I don't know what the guys will do. I don't know. We got 5 guys, I think, that it could be the last game. I think the only one that has to be is Will. I don't know what the guys will do, but they all want to go through senior day, so they, are all looking at their options, which in this day and age, they should. I want them to want to be here. I want them to be happy. If we're the right school for them, great. If we're not, I understand that. If they want to go pro, I understand that. But the door's open if any of them want to come back. I like working with them. They're going to class, they're doing things they should be doing, so I got no problems with any of them. But we've been able to handle most senior days okay, but it'll be an emotional day for Will. He's played the most games of anybody here at Oregon, and you got a guy that's won 2 conference championships, been to 2 Sweet 16s, won a tournament championship, was the #1 seed when it got canceled. Most people would take any one of those, and so he's been part of some good basketball teams, and he's been a big part of those teams. So again, he's the only one that has to go with Jermaine and Waldo and Quincy and Dante decide. That's up to them. The COVID year, just opened up opportunities for guys if they want to get degrees and want to finish up right away. But if they want to go pro, I respect that option also.
Kind of going back to those late game scenarios you've been talking about, is the Washington and Washington State game something you guys talked about and then applied that in the Oregon State game?
Oh, we didn't talk that much about it. We watched film on it. The plays in the Washington game, the critical ones really happened at the 3-minute mark. They didn't happen late. They happened at the 3-minute mark when we had a 5-point lead. That's where we had bad possessions there. And Washington State, we got ourselves back in it and gave up 2 offensive rebounds. So did we talk about those things? Yeah, we showed them on film where, the critical point of a game, not necessarily the last play. There's a lot of plays in the last 2-3 minutes that could lead up to that play. And so we obviously showed them film. It's a learning experience, and first time this team's been through it together, with Key being new and Jermaine being new, guys not playing a lot of minutes in previous years. Everything's a learning experience.
I know it might not be great to be in those situations, especially against teams you want to beat, but can they be helpful for these next 2 games and moving on to Vegas?
Oh, depending on how they take them, yeah. Learning situations. That's the hard part of coaching. You don't know what it's not coaching if they're not listening. It's not coaching if they don't understand what we're talking about. So I hope that stuff, can help them. How important possessions are, late in games. How important, getting a rebound. But again, the turning point of a game can be a lot of places. I know everybody focuses in the last few possessions offensively, but any possession during the game, a guy picking up a 3rd foul in the first half, a guy picking up a 2nd foul in the first 4 minutes. We've had those that have greatly affected games. Turning point, I thought against UCLA here is, a couple offensive rebounds to start second half, where we got stops and they got second opportunities. So a lot of things can turn the ball.
Do you anticipate Riggs to play this week?
We went a little bit today, and then he left, and I didn't get a chance to ask him if Clay pulled him off or if he took himself off. I don't know. But he did practice some today, so he's close. Whether he's ready to go Thursday night, I'm not sure. But he didn't practice until today. Today was his first day trying to do some live stuff. He'd been doing some shooting, but he did try to do some live stuff today. But I noticed at the end of practice he wasn't practicing, so I didn't get a chance to talk to Clay before I talked to you guys. All right, guys, you bet.